The Raiders just traded their best defensive player, Khalil Mack, to the Chicago Bears. Khalil Mack has been, in four NFL seasons, Khalil Mack has been a Pro Bowler 3 times. He was once in 2016 the Defensive Player of the Year. Look, Khalil Mack is a great defensive end, and I want to break down this trade and tell you why I think both sides won the trade. The Raiders benefited from the trade, and so did the Bears, quite obviously. So in this trade, the Raiders got 2 first-round draft picks. They got the 2019 draft pick from the Bears, and they also got their 2020 first-round draft pick. The Raiders also received their 2019 sixth-round pick. Meanwhile, so the Raiders got 2 first-round draft picks and a sixth-round pick. In the trade, the Bears received Khalil Mack, fantastic defensive end, and they got the Raiders' 2020 second-round pick, plus another conditional 2020 pick, a 5th-round conditional pick, depending on how well Khalil Mack does. Again, I like this trade for everybody. I like this trade for the Raiders. I like this trade for the Bears. Many people mocked the trade. A lot of people online were freaking out. Why would the Raiders do this? This is terrible, horrible trade, bad idea. I don't know. I disagree. I've been pretty consistent on this. I think Khalil Mack was asking for too much money. And John Gruden agreed. The Raiders head coach, John Gruden, agreed with me. He said the price was just too high. Remember, Khalil Mack was holding out from the Raiders. He wanted a new contract. The Raiders refused. Said, we're not going to give you more money. We'd rather just trade you away to the Bears. Now it's the Bears' issue, and the Bears immediately signed Khalil Mack to a massive deal. They signed him to the largest contract for a defensive player in NFL history. It's kind of funny. Aaron Donald had that title for one day. One day, Khalil Mack said, nope, now it's mine. So Khalil Mack's contract extension is 6 years, worth $141 million, $90 million guaranteed, and $23.5 million a year. I've said this all along. It never made sense for the Raiders to pay that much for Khalil Mack. I'm glad they didn't. Khalil Mack now accounts for 13% of the Bears' salary cap. He's a defensive end. That's too much. He's not a quarterback. I would not give a defensive end that much money. I mean, look at the Broncos last year. The 2017 Broncos had Von Miller, one of the best defensive ends in all of football. They went 5-11. Because no matter how good your defensive end is, if you don't have an impact quarterback, if you don't have Aaron Rodgers, even Kirk Cousins, you're not going to win games. I've said this over and over and over again. I encourage you to go back to previous podcasts. J.J. Watt was the best defensive lineman in the NFL for years. In those years, there was a year he won Defensive Player of the Year, and his team went 2-14. His coach got fired. J.J. Watt's teams repeatedly have gone 9-7. A defensive lineman does not have as great of an impact on wins as a quarterback or a wide receiver. It's just the truth. It's the honest truth. I would not pay a defensive lineman over $20 million. They just don't have enough of an impact on a game. So I don't really like the fact that the Bears gave $23.5 million to Khalil Mack. However, I don't blame them. So first, I'm glad the Raiders shipped off Khalil Mack. I'm glad they got him off to the NFC North. It's great. The Raiders will never have to play Khalil Mack. And they got 2 first-round picks. So 4 first-round picks for the Raiders in the next 2 years is going to have more of an impact on their roster and on their ability to win games than Khalil Mack would have had. The Raiders did the right thing by trading away Khalil Mack. But I think the Bears, while I would not have given as much money to Khalil Mack as they did, it makes more sense for the Bears to give Khalil Mack $23.5 million than it would have for the Raiders. Here's why. The Bears already have a good defense. The Bears had a good defense before Khalil Mack. Now their defense just got a little bit better. They have a good secondary. Khalil Mack needs help. You're not going to have as much of an impact from a player like Khalil Mack if you don't have a great defense. But because the Bears have a lot of good defensive players around Khalil Mack, he'll have more of an impact there. Again, Khalil Mack is going to be more of an impact on the Bears because they have already a good defense. They have good players around Khalil Mack. That's why it makes sense for the Bears. Think about this. The Bears had a great defense last year. Now consider all of the ways that they've improved. Last year in 2017, the Bears were 30th in offense. 30th. They had a horrible quarterback. Now they have a new offense. They have a new head coach, Matt Nagy. They have a new offensive coordinator, Mark Helfrich. What that's going to do is having a better offense will help benefit the defense. Time of possession, they'll score more points to help them win games. It's going to be good. I expect the offense for the Bears to improve, and that helps the defense. The other thing is, Obviously, the Bears added Khalil Mack. The Bears defense is significantly better today than it was this time last year because they added Khalil Mack and because they improved their offense. So that's why I think the Khalil Mack trade was good for both sides. I'm glad the Raiders avoided overpaying a good player, a player that would not have impacted them as much as having 4 draft picks the next 2 years. If the Raiders can get 4 potential starters the next 2 years from the NFL draft, that is a much better deal for them than having Khalil Mack. But the Bears benefited from this trade because they already have a good defense. They can insert Khalil Mack, and they're going to get better. They have players around him that will help Khalil Mack improve. I still think the Bears gave Khalil Mack $7 or $8 million more than I would have. I would not pay up any defensive player $23.5 million. That's simply too much. But hey, they got a really great defensive end, and they're going to now terrorize Aaron Rodgers. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is my show, Strong Opinion Sports. It's my pride and joy. I'm very proud of it. If you're new to Strong Opinion Sports, you can subscribe to it on iTunes, SoundCloud, on YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube, or you can find more shorter breakout videos like the one you just watched. And if you like what I had to say, maybe you hate what I had to say, share this with your friends. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about the show. My name is Zach Schaumler. Have a great day.